There it is. All right. Thank you. There it is. Hi, everybody. Welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every day from the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios in the fantastic E-Gallery in Dallas. Is tremendous. We'll use tremendous today. Design District. Talk radio for normal people. We talk about all kinds of things. We try not to get into the whole political thing that seems to dominate talk radio or just discourse in general in this country. Nah, it's just me, a middle-aged man, stream of consciousness, ranting about all the things that I see in this day. Hot topics, trends, whatever it is, pop culture, lifestyle. That's what we do here. We've done it every single day. We're heading into our 50. I don't even know. I don't even count anymore. It's like 2021 is when we started. I think August, sometime in August. Not sure. Let's say hi to the chat room. I don't have the chat room turned on, so let me welcome our people, the fuel that powers the engine that is this daily show. We got Peter, we got Barney, we got Peter again. All right, more people. Come on, let's go. Chat room, we need to fill it up. Where's my regulars? Where's my Tarandas? Where's April? By the way, April, need to mention her. Today's rant, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you by April. That's right. Thank you, April. Today's rant. What's this? Why is this underneath? See what's trending underneath? That's wrong. That shouldn't be trending underneath. What should be trending underneath is tonight's appearance. Tonight, we're out there at Bottle Rockets, Legacy Village. All right, if you need to know more, you can read that. I'll tell you about it later. But first, April is our executive producer. Today's show has been brought to us by April in partnership with the incredible Lorenzo. And let's not forget, thank you, Gen C. Those are our tippers from yesterday. Thank you so much. April dropped the big bomb, so I appreciate that. And she gets to be the primary executive producer. But thank you very much to Gen C and Lorenzo. Your monthly patronage is certainly appreciated. Now, how about you? Because we are in the middle of a pledge week. Let's get the finals. Not the finals, but let's see where we are with pledge week. Okay, now we're going to scroll that. Let me see. It says it's pledge week. Please help support local talk radio. That's what this is. We're trying to bring local radio that isn't political back. Drop a tip at Pugs Moran on Venmo or $PugsCast in the Cash App. This show needs to make, look at that number, ladies and gentlemen, 90 bucks. We're ahead of the curve. You guys are so great. Look, I think it's working out better when I just ask 1 week a month, right? 3 weeks a month where, look, if people want to tip, they like something, that's fine, but I don't shake my can like a desperate evangelist. 1 week a month, we do this thing. We call it Pledge Week, and that's what we're in. We need to raise about 50 bucks per show. I like to say if this show can at least generate $250 a month for a daily show, then we can at least pay the internet and the lights and, some kind of whatever. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody getting rich, but you people have kept us on the air now for 4 going into 5 years. People like April, people like Gen C, people like Peter, people like Lorenzo, people like Barney, all of you guys. So thank you so much for helping out this Pledge Week. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that for the first time in a very long time, we actually may hit our 250 number. So thank you. It's only 30 bucks a show now. We need to make 30 bucks today and 30 bucks tomorrow and 30 bucks Friday. And then we can call this month a fucking success, which would be great. So thank you guys. Once again, if you would like to participate, scrolling right under there, you can find the Venmo and the Cash App. What else needs to be mentioned here before we get started? Well, I think I already just kind of mentioned it, right? That's right. It's Wednesday night. So what does that mean? Where are we doing the fun and games on a Wednesday night? Wednesday nights? Trash Trivia up there at Bottle Rockets. I'll tell you all about tonight's Bottle Rockets Trash Trivia, but I got to tell you about last night's. Last night's, congratulations to our chat room team, the Misfits. That's right, the Misfits, Bill Folk and April. They had no James Parker. Actually, they don't usually have James Parker. James is very narcissistic about his trivia play. He likes to just be his own man and, sink or swim on his own, which is admirable, but also indicator that he's, kind of a psycho. But Bill Falk and of course April from the chat room, they team up as a team called the Misfits, and they have been going head to head for weeks with a team, the Degenerates, we'll call them. They are a bar team. They are people who sit at the bar every week. They ain't there for trivia. They stick around now because they like trivia. They love this. They're the bar team. In that bar team, the Degenerates are so good. Now, why are they good? I told you yesterday, because one of the guys on their team is a ringer. One of the guys on their team is like a trivia genius who used to host trivia events all over Dallas, and that's why they're really good. But I will point out, the Degenerates have like 4, sometimes 5 people on their team, and they are battling week in and week out against the Misfits of Bill Falk and April. What I would say is this. April and Bill won yesterday. Why did they win last night? They won by 1 point over the Degenerates. I think this 2 weeks in a row now that the Misfits have defeated the Degenerates. They turned in a second round perfect card. That's 20 out of 20. That was just enough by 1 with the combined first round scores and the second round scores to give them a 1-point decisive victory at Back 9 Trash Trivia every Tuesday night. If you're in the chat room, seriously, and you want to be a part of this chat room team, and I don't even know that Bill and April will have you. There will probably have to be a process. They'll ask you some questions to see if you're worthy. But we are getting ready to take this to the next level. American Metal Whiskey is now on board as a sponsor. Now, what does that mean as a sponsor? Well, it means that they will be providing a cash prize. That's right. As soon as we get this tournament going, and it's kind of been going since last night, I think the first 2 teams that we, invited into the big money tournament is going to be the Degenerates and the Misfits, because, they're the ones that, there are a couple other teams too that can certainly register. And if they want to be a part of the tournament, I'll have to talk to them next week. I got a good idea who they are. They come out and they play every Tuesday at the Back 9. $500 cash. And then there's going to be another tournament where it's like $200 cash, in addition to all the cool prizes that we already give away every night. Like tonight out there at Bottle Rockets, we'll be giving away gummies. Yeah, good ones too. So only take half. If I don't get a chance to talk to you, should you win the gummies, have a conversation with me before you, and don't, get home, get in bed, that kind of thing. Big bags of gummies, legal, because Dan Patrick lost that battle in the State House, and Governor, what's his name? Governor Dan Patrick wanted to get rid of all the gummies that, it gets you a little. Well, who's the governor? Abbott. That's right. Abbott said no to Patrick. So, we got them. We're giving them away. They're legal. Come on by. Have fun. We're going to card you, though, because you got to be 21. Well, you're in a bar. So that kind of, I think we have a right to assume that you're probably 21 because you're in a bar winning a prize. Anyway, that's coming in the next couple of weeks. If you want to play tonight, come on out tonight to Bottle Rockets. That's up there in Legacy Village, right off the tollway. Myself and James Parker from WBAP. We do a dueling thing on Wednesdays. We got wireless mics. We walk around and we talk to you and we hang out. So come one, come all, Bottle Rockets tonight at a new improved time, 8 to 10. That's right. We're getting serious. This is nighttime trivia. All right. See you out there. What else do I need to mention? We talked about how awesome we're doing with the Pledge Week. So thank you very much for that. Again, if you want to support the show, there you go. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today, although if I'm being honest with you, I've had such a busy morning, I don't know that I'm all that fired up about any of the things that we're going to talk about, but this is just a hang. It's a daily hang. Here are the things that are going on, at least so far as I see them. We got a government shutdown. We'll talk about that, although not a lot, because look at me. Am I the person you should be taking hot takes on the government shutdown from? No. Tell you what you should be taking hot takes from. I'm going to talk about the Nicole Kidman-Keith Urban divorce. Yeah, they're getting divorced. We know how much money they're claiming they make every month. We know what they're doing with the child support issue that's going on. We'll have all those details. Do you even care, though? It's like, I don't care. That's like that's a big A-list Hollywood couple that I have like no interest in. They're so boring. It's like they're like a boring A-list Hollywood couple. But they're breaking up, so we won't have to deal with them for a while. What else? We got breaking news. We'll touch on the story out of New York City. Apparently one of them housing projects exploded and a whole side of the building came down. Miraculously, doesn't appear that there's anybody hurt, although I haven't seen an update in about 2 hours. So we'll do that. We're also going to talk about this bullshit Epstein situation that's going on in the House of Representatives and why we can't seem to get a vote, even though now we happen to have enough votes to get all of the information that we've all been asking for about Epstein. But the party in power will not grant that vote for some reason. We'll talk about that. You know, the Epstein thing, not political. This is about pedophilia. This is not political. I don't know. This is the problem that they're having with the Epstein thing. I think in the beginning, they tried to make the Epstein thing, and who's they? I don't know. The people who control the puppet strings, to drive the narrative, those people. I think that in the beginning, they tried to make the Epstein thing like a Hollywood thing, like it was a lefty liberal, and so they were all into it. Let's find out the names. But then some names started to come out, and it turns out this isn't political at all. That Jeffrey Epstein crossed aisles, I guess. You know, there were all kinds. And then we learned that, you know, the guy in charge of MAGA is pretty heavily linked to Epstein. And now all of a sudden we can't get any information. So we're going to break that down. Also, our buddy Frank Smith sent this to me yesterday. I've been meaning to talk about this. But Frank compelled me to. Frank Smith, a fine chat room Denzian. Are you guys familiar with this comedy festival? You know, I'm a big comedy fan. I love my comics. At this big comedy festival going on over there in Saudi Arabia, where they are paying crap tons of money to, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry middler to go on over there. A middler is like the guy that's not the headliner, and he's not the local opener. He's just the guy that tours with the headliner. He's his buddy. Here's the truth. The middler is the guy who gets the headliner drugs and girls. That's the middler's job. That's why you'll find a lot. This is not a joke. Notice this the next time you go see a comic at the Improv. If the comic is kind of a name comic, and if he looks like a comic, and by that I mean unfuckable, because comics are, you can only be funny if you're unfuckable. That's a hard and fast rule that I believe in. But notice this. Notice that the middle guy that the headliner brings on the road is always handsome. He's always a guy who can get chicks. Always. All right. Anyway, there's this comedy festival. Now, getting chicks not going to be a problem at the Saudi Arabian Comedy Festival. So we've got a list of everybody who's performing, and we'll talk about some of the people who are not performing and some of the things and reasons that they've said that they've turned down X amount of dollars. And I mean, we're talking millions of dollars for like 15-minute set for some of these guys, like Sebastian Maniscalco. That guy was offered $2.5 million. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Saudi Arabian Comedy Festival, the latest in the attempt for the Saudi Arabian regime to sort of normalize their whole scene. We got golf now. Look at us. We're paying expensive soccer players to play in stadiums that are state-of-the-art, but nobody goes to. Now we're doing comedy. Pretty soon we're going to have a CBS sitcom set in Riyadh. You'll see the normalization. Anyway, we'll get into that. They've got a bunch of other stupid stuff. Oh, I got an update from the Mike Johnson guy. Remember the Mike Johnson guy who was going viral the last couple of days? He says he's got Speaker of the House Mike Johnson's Grindr account and all that stuff. Yeah, that guy. Well, we got an update from him, so we'll listen to what's going on with him. He said that today, October the 1st, he was going to be releasing Mike Johnson's Grindr profile, which the suggestion is that, you know, he's on Grindr. Grindr is a gay hookup site. He's going to release his Grindr profile, pictures, all kinds of stuff, an IP address, and, you know, all that good stuff. So that was supposed to be today, but we've got an update on that, so we'll find out what's happening there. What's this, Hugh? Hold on. Hugh's got breaking news. We've got a new dead person that we need to, let me see here. Hugh Morris. All right, Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall is now on the death trifecta, but with who, Pugs? That's a good question. I have to do every couple of weeks, I'm doing an accounting of our death trilogy because I'm keeping a very, very strict list of this year, 2025's death trilogies, because celebrities always die in 3, and I'm proving that. Jane Goodall. So she is not the same as Diane Fossey, right? Who was that? Who was Gorillas in the Mist? That's not Jane Goodall. Everybody thinks it's Jane Goodall, right? But it's the other one. It's Diane Fossey. Wasn't one monkeys and one gorillas? And I don't know. I don't make a difference. Anyway, Apparently, according to Hugh, his dreams have come true today. Jane Goodall has finally died. I go back a bunch of years with Hugh. He's always been, hey, I can't wait for that Jane Goodall to die. Well, here's your day, Hugh. Actually, let's see. Let me look that up. She was monkeys or apes? Jane Goodall. There we go. Woo, she was 91. Okay, good life. How old is that in monkey years? Hey, I don't even know if monkey years is a thing. All right, here it is. Jane Goodall, famed primatologist, anthropologist, and conservationalist, has been dead. She's dead at 91 years old. Goodall's field of research changed the understanding of humans' closest relatives. Bullshit, right? This is one of them things that we don't believe, that like some people don't believe. Well, I ain't come from no monkey. Jane Goodall, the most prolific primatologist of a generation, has died. She was 91 years old. The Jane Goodall Institute has learned this morning, that Wednesday, October 1st, 2025, that Jane Goodall, DBE, UN Messenger of Peace, and founder of the Jane Goodall Institute, has passed away due to natural causes. The Institute said on social media. She was in California as part of her speaking tour in the United States, 91 years old. She's still out there talking about monkeys. Goodall's discoveries as an ethologist revolutionized science, and she was a tireless advocate for the protection and restoration of our natural world. It was July 1960 when Goodall okay, that's fine. Good for her. But I got to be honest, is she the one they even made the movie about, right? Gorillas in the Mist. Who was that? Let's find out. Okay, wait, how do I even ask that? All right, Gorillas in the Mist. Not the midst. We're not in the midst. Although, wouldn't that have been a better name for that movie? Gorillas in the Midst. No, that's the name of a documentary about gorillas that we make, and we try and draw that connection to Gorillas in the Mist. And we call it Gorillas in the Midst. And it's not going to be me. I'm not going to go be in the midst of gorillas, but somebody will. Somebody's willing to do that. All right, who did she play? All right, it says here, Gorillas in the Mist is a 1988 American screenplay, biographical drama film. Film is based on the book by the same... All right, Diane Fossey. All right. Is she alive? No, she died in 85. Hey, did she die in that movie? I never saw the movie. I got to be honest with you. I never saw Gorillas in the Mist. Didn't appeal to me. It was just like a little monkey movie. I don't think so. So I passed. What, was she murdered or something? I'm starting to learn now about Diane Fossey. Okay. Yeah, she was murdered in 1985. I'm thinking maybe that's a big part of the movie. Maybe that's why Diane Fossey got the movie and Jane Goodall didn't. All right. That's all I got. Let's see. Let's get to the start of what we're going to talk about here today. Let's get into it. Government shutdown. Okay. How are you guys dealing with hour 14, 15 of the government shutdown? The government shut down last night at 11 o'clock. Twitter is just being flooded with like anti-Trump videos of him from like years ago going, anytime the government shuts down, it's 100% the problem of the president and he's the one that failed. So, there's that. That's funny. That's funny because that is absolutely not what's being said now. The shoe's on the other foot. I don't know what a government shutdown does. I haven't felt it yet, but then again, I haven't tried to go to the Grand Canyon today. So what does this mean? We talked yesterday, mail? No, apparently not. Bunch of people going to lose their jobs. Well, hell, a bunch of people in the government have been losing their jobs since January 20th. I don't know what that means. Nobody gets paid. Okay, that sucks. I saw JD Vance. He's like, we're going to have to fire a bunch of people. I'm like, bitch, you've been firing people since you took office. Why is this a new announcement? You're going to try and justify new firings based on this government shutdown? Have at it. I don't know. It's all way too complicated for me. And quite frankly, with the way these two sides are, Republicans and Democrats, there's no answer in sight. And I'm certainly not going to stumble across it during a stream of consciousness on a Wednesday afternoon. So let's move on. The government is shut down. Boo-hoo. New York City explosion. Did you guys see this morning? I woke up to this news. This is the scary shit of life, right, guys? I try to tell you all the time. I don't know why you all walking around here being assholes to people. I mean, a plane part could fall out of the sky at 30,000 feet. And while you're arguing with some idiot in the parking lot of Target, you're dead, because life is precious, because we don't have an infinite amount of time. We've only got so much. So every moment should be amplified for its positivity. That's what I say. So stop being a dick, right? Life is fragile. There are people in a New York City building today who are, I guess, alive, because I haven't seen any reports of deaths, and some people are calling it miraculous. But that's how fragile life is. You could just be, waking up in your New York City public housing tenement, and then all of a sudden something explodes in a boiler room and half the building gets sheared off. That's what happened this morning. Now, reports, the most recent ones that I've seen, say that there is no body count as of right now, and they don't really think that anybody lost their life or any major injuries. What apparently happened was this explosion, they believe now natural gas, which is always, that's the scariest thing, man. The natural gas things exploding is the scariest thing. I was younger. This was like the 1990s. I was driving home from downtown Chicago, and all these fire trucks, and I look off to the side of the expressway, and I just see this black smoke over an entire neighborhood. People from Chicago might remember this. There was this area in where University of Illinois Chicago is, around the Maxwell Street area. It was a new construction, and it was a bunch of like rehabs, and they were putting up nice condos. Well, a gas line exploded and blew up the entire fucking block. And I just remember thinking, that is every house has gas coming into it. We just trust, right? These are the institutions that we trust in. We take them for granted because there are so many perilous pitfalls placed in front of us on a daily basis that we honestly cannot focus on them. We have to trust that the gas company knows what it's fucking doing. And guess what? It apparently does not 100% of the time know what it's doing, because in New York City, we had this morning. All right, here's a report now. This came from, is this the CNN report? All right, let's watch and see how they reported on the New York City high-rise collapse from earlier today. Holy crap, I just realized we're going to get a commercial here. Okay, because it's Mediaite, and Mediaite sucks. All right, it's only going to be like 3 seconds, so we'll muscle through it. All right.
News.
And we are following this breaking news out of the Bronx. Search and rescue is underway after a high-rise building partially collapsed. The entire incinerator shaft fell in a 17-story public housing building. This is live footage from our affiliate, WABC. They're reporting that a gas explosion caused this collapse. The building is located on Alexander Avenue, right near East 138th Street. The New York Fire Department is now responding. It's not clear in these early hours if there are any injuries. Dogs are on the scene sniffing through the debris there.
Horrible situation indeed.
Congressman Richie Torres joins us now on the phone.
What the hell are we looking at?
You represent this area. What are you learning?
It's so hard with some of these building collapses, and it doesn't matter if it's some fancy condo in Seaside, Florida, or if it's just a tenement in the Bronx. The aftermath always, well, what did it look like before? Like, we just saw a dog sniffing around on a bunch of piled bricks. Apparently, as she just said, this was the incinerator tube. Apparently, I don't know how, things work in these high-rise buildings like this, but there's an incinerator tube. Is that what it sounds like? You stick things in there and it goes down and gets incinerated down below. So there was an explosion in the incinerator tube, and apparently the incinerator tube is on one side of the building, and that entire side of the building was sheared off. Now, none of those, no apartments, I guess, or units or living spaces were affected by this, which accounts for why they're calling it a miracle. But let's continue and hear more.
Well, I'm profoundly shaken because I was just at Mitchell Houses just a few weekends ago for a summer barbecue. But it appears that a gas explosion led to a partial building collapse. There could be a full vacate of the building, which could lead to
look at that,
up to 174 families displaced from their homes. It's a 17-story building. The Mitchell Houses is a public housing development. It's one of...
My God, how are you telling me that nobody was injured and nobody is dead? Let's see what the latest is.
over 300 public housing developments in New York City. It's actually a federal housing development, and so my view is that HUD, the Department of Housing and Urban Development, needs to do everything it can to assist the city of New York in restoring the building and in relocating these families who have been displaced to permanent housing. This is an emergency situation that requires urgent action at every level of government, the federal level, the local level.
Yeah, all right. There you go. Thank you, Representative Richie Torres. Let's find out what the latest is on this story. This is, hold on. This was posted about 45 minutes ago. Residents of a New York City public housing tower have escaped unharmed after a massive chimney collapses. So now they're just calling it a chimney. And now I'm putting it together. That's what a fucking incinerator tube is, right? That would be a chimney. Why didn't I just go, oh, the chimney collapsed on the building? A massive brick chimney running 20 stories up the side of a New York City apartment building collapsed after an explosion Wednesday morning, sending tons of debris plummeting to the ground. The falling bricks buried a sidewalk, landed on, nobody was standing on the sidewalk. The falling bricks buried a sidewalk, landing on a public housing building's playground, and sent a cloud of dust billowing over a block in the Bronx. But amazingly, nobody was injured. That's all I needed to hear. So we're just talking about a shitty building falling down. Okay, tragedy averted. We'll take it. Nobody got hurt. Nobody got killed. Let's move on to this Epstein thing, because this bugged me when I saw this last night. So we know the government shutdown is going to delay moving forward with all bunch of things, least of which, keeping the lights on there at the Capitol. So it's going to interrupt a whole bunch of things. So here's what we know. Last Tuesday, in a special election in Arizona, Tom Massey, the guy who's really the Republican who's really is Tom Massey, or he's a Republican, right? I get so confused because he seems to be against Trump on this deal, which is, Massey wants to release. Yeah, he's from Kentucky, right? He's a Republican from Kentucky. Anyway, Massey wants a vote, is pushing for a vote to release all of the things that are currently being held back, what we believe, by the Department of Justice or whomever. They were one vote shy. Now you got to ask yourself, why are they one vote shy? What is going on? What would the Republicans dominate the House of Representatives? They should not be one vote shy on anything. These are Republicans who are not coming over to sign the declaration that they want to be a part of a vote to release the Epstein information. Why is Tom Massey, God bless him, I don't give a shit if he's red, blue, or what, Tom Massey, seemingly, despite his party and despite his president and despite his Department of Justice's wishes, is still moving forward with this, and he's collecting Democrats because all the Democrats are signing it. All the Democrats are like, let's go. They don't need all the Democrats. What they need are all the Republicans because they're the majority. So there are Republican holdouts who, for whatever reason, and you can speculate to your heart's desire, for whatever reason, they are not supporting the public release of this information. Are they protecting friends? Are they protecting donors? Are they protecting the president? Which is something a lot of people are saying. Well, Tom Massey doesn't give a shit. And last Tuesday in Arizona, a special election seated a seat that had been vacant for quite some time. That seat is now filled by somebody who is going to vote to release the Epstein files. Massey has enough to hold the vote to get the files released. But for some reason, this Congress, over the course of the last couple of days, has refused to swear in and seat that newly elected representative from Arizona. Why? I don't know. Again, let's speculate till our heart's content. But it is definitely happening only on one side. You can talk about whose fault it is with the shutdown, whatever. Again, we're talking about a party that controls both the House and the Senate, but somehow it's the minority party's fault. But now, can we at least stay Can we stay consistent? Can we now look at the Epstein situation and decide right now, you sitting here today listening to me, what the fuck is more important to you? This bullshit about getting the government restart? Let's reopen the government. Fuck that. I don't feel that. That can go a bunch of days. It'll be fine. They'll get it started again. And guess what? The majority of us won't even feel like we hit a bump in the road. But we do care about the Epstein shit because we all have kids and we all understand that victimization of children is one of the things that no matter what our political ideology is, normal people cannot abide. So let's get to the bottom of this. So they're refusing to seat this newly elected person who will tip the vote over in favor of releasing everything. Why? I don't know. But this went down yesterday. Here, this was an attempt to get these people sworn in. Now, Mike Johnson wasn't overseeing the House at this point. There was a Speaker pro tem. I don't even know who it is. But this is how it went down yesterday when the Democrats were expecting this person to be sworn in. This is what the Republicans decided to do. Instead of swearing in the decisive vote for the release of the Epstein information, this is what your Republicans did. And I ask you why.
Is approved. The chair will lead the House in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pursuant to Clause 13 of Rule 1, the House stands adjourned.
All right, so now you hear the Democrats. He's trying to adjourn. He's trying to end it. And we all know that there's a government shutdown looming in a couple of hours, so who knows when we're supposed to be back. This dude, apparently they were supposed to be back if the government was running on Friday for a quick session. But that's not going to happen now, and the Democrats know that. And that's what the Democrats are complaining about right here. Hey, wait. Sign or swear in the new member of this House. And the Republicans won't because the Republicans don't want a new member in the House.
Pursuant to Clause 13 of Rule 1, the House stands adjourned until 3:30 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd at 2025.
Look at him smiling. He's smiling like the cat that ate the fucking canary. He knows exactly what the pushback is for, and he's smiling at him. We'll resume on Friday. No, we won't, because the government is shut down.
The House stands adjourned until 3:30 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd at 2025.
Yeah, that's it. Smile, asshole. You pedophile protector. And there you go. And that was it. Why are they doing this? I'll tell you one of the reasons that they're doing this. One of the reasons that they are doing this is because they know they can get away with it. Because they know that people who are outraged by it are just going to be outraged by it. And what do we know about the rule of outrage? It's about a 72-hour cycle. If you can just weather the 72 hours, the people who are outraged will move on to being outraged by something fresh. So that's why they do it. This Trump style of politics taught me that in 2016. I always use the example of Al Franken. Al Franken got caught in some bullshit situation that no senator would ever in their right mind think they need to step down from. But because there was a picture of him going honk, honk on a girl's boobs, wasn't touching them, was far away, wasn't sexual assault. It just looked bad. So, of course, the fucking Democrats who are feckless, they decided to fall on their sword and do the right thing. I'm Al Franken, and I'm going to step down and give up this Senate seat because it's the right thing. I shouldn't, even though I am a comedian who did some pretty risque things in my time on Saturday Night Live. I should not have gone honk, honk. Gave up a fucking Senate seat. You know what Trump taught me in 2016? That Al Franken should have gone, fuck you. Try and vote me out. And then like 3 days later, everybody would have moved on and he'd still be there. Not that I give a shit like he was some great senator. I'm just saying this is the difference between the way politics used to be done. They used to do the right thing because they wanted to be seen as doing the right thing. Which, by the way, is different than doing the right thing because you want to do the right thing. None of them want to do the right thing. They all, whether it's right or left, they all just want to do the thing that appears to be the right thing. This does not appear to be the right thing. speeding through and ending a session with no idea of when another session will happen because of the looming government shutdown, but doing this and then smiling wryly. By the way, that was Riley, W-R-Y, right? Isn't that how you spell it? Not smiling like Riley. Anyway, that pisses me off, man. Pisses me off. Let's see here. We'll move on. Anyway, the Epstein thing is going nowhere until we can get the extra votes sworn in. And who knows? They may never swear her in. They may never get around to it. Oh, you think that's crazy? Like, no, Pugs, what are you talking about? At some point, she legally won an election. She's going to get sworn in. I don't know that anymore. Fucking Trump can't run for re-election, and yet he was passing out Trump 2028 hats yesterday. So fuck you and your constructs. Everything is just an idea until somebody goes, yeah, fuck that. I'm doing it different. And that's how the world changes. So I don't know. They may never swear this chick in. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Let's have some laughs. Let's do some things that'll make us happy. Let's make us smile, right? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Saudis trying to whitewash the world with their brand of comedy. The Saudis, for, I don't know, about 5 years now? I don't know. How long has it been? Well, how long ago did we learn about this like $1 trillion Saudi fund? There is a fund that has been created by the Saudi royal family. It's like trillions of dollars. It's an absurd amount of money. And this fund's entire purpose is to change the world's opinion of the Saudi people and, more to the point, the Saudi royal family. They've been calling it whitewashing, you know, the purchasing of golf, the purchasing of, creating live golf and then going out and poaching some of the highest priced or attempting to poach the highest priced and highest profile golfers in the world. Olympics, right? Soccer, major sports. What are they? Sports washing, I believe, is the term that they were calling it. The Saudi kingdom, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the royal family, they are monsters. They are medieval minded, yet they operate in the modern world and they got to keep the smoke and mirror machine going. So they've created a fund with billions and billions and billions of dollars in it so that they can invest in making people think Saudi Arabia and the royal family is something different than what they are. That is the issue behind this Saudi Arabian comedy festival. So Saudi Arabia has invited the world's top comedians to come there for a comedy festival. They are paying out of this Saudi fund some of the highest prices ever paid for stand-up comics. And it has started a civil war within modern stand-up comedy. If you follow any stand-up comics or if you watch any of these podcasts on YouTube, you will know that over the course of the last month, this has kind of dominated the conversation among comedians. There are comedians who are principled, who will not go to Saudi Arabia, who have no interest in it, and on principle, because that is a murderous thug regime, they will not take their blood money. Now, I have to admit that a lot of these comedians who seem to be on that side fully admit that they were not invited. They were not offered $2.5 million for 15 minutes like Sebastian Maniscalco was. So Bill Burr was invited. Bill Burr, they tried to pay Bill Burr a whole bunch of money, and Bill Burr said no. And Bill Burr has been going around on podcasts saying, yeah, it's just not my thing. I don't need to be a part of that. I don't need to have that on my conscience. Now, Bill Burr is also a guy who's got fuck you money at this point. He didn't need $2.5 million for 15 minutes. You know, he's Sebastian Maniscalco. I don't think he needs it either, but he's taking the money. All right, so this is a full list of comedians performing at the Saudi Arabia Comedy Festival. So let's go through these. These are the ones who many comedians online would have you believe are the bad guys. These are the comedians who are apparently the bad guys who are taking Saudi blood money. First, why it matters. This comes to us from Newsweek. Again, thanks to our assistant producer on this, Frankie. Thanks, Frank. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has made major investments in sports and entertainment. The Riyadh Comedy Festival was announced back in July by Turki Al-Sheikh, who is the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority. The festival comes as part of the country's Vision 2030 strategy, which is aiming to position the country as a destination for culture and diversify the country's economy. The plan was outlined almost a decade ago by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia is an ally of the United States, in name only. The event, although nowadays maybe more than just in name. The event has prompted backlash in response to Saudi Arabia's human rights record. Multiple organizations have urged performers to speak out against the country's record on human rights. And Human Rights Watch released a statement this week which read, "The Saudi government is using the Riyadh Comedy Festival to deflect attention from its brutal repression of free speech and other pervasive human rights violations." Performers who are scheduled to appear at the festival include, I wish I had prices. I wish we had prices. All right, here we go. Mo Amer. I don't know who Mo Amer is. Mo Amer, I am guessing, is a Arab comedian. There is a whole bunch of Arab comedians that do pretty well. So, I mean, you know, I don't know. I can't speak to that. Aziz Ansari will be appearing at now, what is Aziz Ansari? Is he Indian or is he Aziz Ansari? Or what is he? Let's find out what he is. Well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it does kind of matter. It does matter. Because people from India and Pakistan, although people from Pakistan are Muslim, but people from India aren't the same as people from Saudi Arabia. So let's see what he is. He is, it says here on Wikipedia that he's an American actor, comedian, filmmaker. Let's see where he belongs. Where did he grow up? Aziz Ansari was born in Canada. No, it says he was born in Colombia. I'm sorry. Columbia, South Carolina, to Indian immigrants. Okay, so he is Indian. His parents are Muslims. All right, there you go. He's Muslim. Or his parents were. All right, so that makes sense. There you go. He's going to feel comfortable there. He's Muslim. It's a Muslim country. He'll be fine. I don't know that he's Muslim. Next up, appearing at the Riyadh Comedy Festival, provocatively appearing, I should say, Wayne Brady, ladies and gentlemen. Wayne Brady. Yeah, I'm Wayne Brady in 2025. I'm taking the paycheck because I bet it's a high paycheck. Like, I bet you Wayne Brady is making more than Aziz Ansari or Mo Amer. Right, because he's Wayne Brady. He had an American TV show. But he's not that relevant, right? He's not. Aziz Ansari might be more relevant. Hell, Mo Amer might be the most relevant. Wayne Brady is going to be appearing. He got a big chunk. I'm telling you, Wayne Brady. That's a name. They probably paid him a lot of money. Hannibal Buress is performing. It says Bill Burr is performing here. I thought Bill was against this. I thought Bill was the one that was saying no to it. They got Bill listed as somebody performing. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I got Bill Burr wrong. Hold on. Bill Burr, Saudi Arabia. All right, here we go. Why are A-list comics getting backlash for performing? No, he is. He is definitely performing. All right, I had that wrong. I'm sorry. I misspoke. It was, I guess, I watched so many comics on podcasts and stuff talking about this. They all kind of blend together. Bill Burr defends performing a controversial Riyadh Comedy Festival. All right, apparently he does need the money. He's going to take the money. All right, let's go back to the list. Hannibal Buress, Bill Burr, Jimmy Carr. I love Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr is so funny. Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Whitney Cummings, Pete Davidson, Chris DiStefano, Zarna Garg, Ben Hart, Kevin Hart, big names. Maz Jabroni, big names. Joe Coy, Bobby Lee, Sebastian Maniscalco, Sam Morrill, Mark Norman. Mark Norman might be the best comedian in America. Yeah, I said that. I'll plant my flag there right now. Mark Norman is funny. Oh my God, is that guy great? Mark Norman is going to be there. Russell Peters is going to be there. Jeff Ross is going to be there. Ugh. Jeff Ross might be the worst comic in America. I don't understand that guy. I don't get. Moving on. Andrew Santino, Andrew Schultz, Tom Segura. They're all taking the big paydays. Ali Sadiq, Ari Spears, Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker's back out there doing it. How many more do we have here? All right, comedians that have refused. All right, so here's a list of comedians that have refused. Shane Gillis has refused. The comedian Shane Gillis said on his podcast that he had turned down an invitation and a significant appearance fee. Yeah, Shane Gillis would probably have been given a monster fee too. He's very hot right now. All right, Shane Gillis says no to it. Atsuko Okatsuka posted screenshots of what she said was her invite to the festival on social media. Mike Birbiglia, he's also very funny, and Leslie Lau responded to this and said that they too had rejected invitations. Someone named Stavros Halkias said in a podcast episode that he had also refused to perform. Nimesh Patel was also slated to participate in the festival, but announced on social media that he would be dropping out on what? Is it ethical or ethnic? Ethical. It's ethical grounds. Well, that makes more sense. That's Mark Maron and David Cross have both come out publicly criticizing comedians who are participating in the festival. Tim Dillon was originally slated to perform, but was removed from the list of performers because of jokes that he made on his podcast about slavery in Saudi Arabia. So there you go. There's the kind of control they want over there, which is part of the reason why some comedians don't want it. How much are comedians being paid? Official figures for how much these comedians are being paid for the Riyadh Comedy Festival have not been released to the public. But in a podcast appearance released August 30th, Tim Dillon said that he was being paid $375,000 and that other performers had been offered as much as $2 million. Well, I've heard that number go up to 2.5. All right, so let's talk about this. All right, so there you go. You have the list of comedians who are involved and the ones who are not involved. Here's my take on the Riyadh Comedy Festival. If I am a comedian and, I work, comedians have rough lives. I know you probably think it's glamorous as hell, but it's not. It really kind of sucks. It's a lot of time in cars. It's a lot of long road trips. It's a lot of airports. It's a lot of funky motels. Like if you are on the road, I don't know, 35, 40 weeks a year as part of your touring schedule, because you're trying to make a name for yourself, because that's how you make a name for yourself. You play every town 3 times a year. So if you're on the road that much, just understand that every single night that you go to sleep, you are sleeping in a funky, cheapest possible room, because your rooms are paid for by the clubs, and the clubs do not spend money on that shit. Some clubs go really cheap, and they have a thing called a condo, a comics condo. I don't know if you've heard stories about comedy condos, but if you're a club and you bring in comics every week, you will buy an apartment and rent it, and it's called the comedy condo instead of renting a hotel room. And every fucking week, a different comic comes in, and every comic is in town, and every comic is having chicks and throwing parties after the show because nobody gives a shit, because it's not anybody's play. It's gross. It is terrible. So that being your life as a mid-tier comedian, okay, and there were a number of mid-tier comedians there that were mentioned, you might be able to make $150,000 a year grunting like that in clubs 30 some odd weeks a year. You go to Riyadh, and that same guy, Tim Dillon, is being offered $375,000 for one set. I'm taking that money. The only way that I am not taking that money, and I like to think of myself as a man of principle, the only way that I am, and I do not approve of the Saudi royal family. I believe that they are monsters. They are responsible for 91. Never forget. You all fucking forgot. They are responsible for almost all of the unrest in the Middle East, because Saudi Arabia benefits from the unrest that they foster. But somehow, they got oil and they let us put our bases there, so are our friends. They're our friends. So on principle, I would have a real problem with going there. In reality, I'm cashing that fucking check every day. You know why? Because your principles are how you end up with a shotgun barrel in your mouth behind a fucking Denny's. Principles will fucking kill you. $375,000 for 15 minutes is not an offer that's probably going to come many times in your life. So if you're a struggling comedian who has not yet made it and you don't take that, Woo! I don't know how you can do that. Now, if I were, as I said, if I were Bill Burr, if I were Sebastian Maniscalco, if I were Dave Chappelle, some of the other names that I saw mentioned there, or the guy who I think is my current favorite comic. I know I said Norman. I think Norman is such a strong and original comic voice. Mark Norman is so good. But I think the best comic is Gillis. I've been saying that for a while. He's the hottest comic. He's the biggest comic. I think he's the most talented. He's not just a comic. He's an incredible sketch actor. He's going to be a movie star. He's going to be a movie star. He's too good in sketches not to be. Anyway, if I were Shane Gillis, I would probably turn it down. If I were any of those people, Chappelle didn't turn it down. Chappelle took it. Bill Burr took it. Some of the other people, right, who were, I don't know, big names. Sebastian took it. I think that all of those guys have enough money that if they did have a principled opposition to this thing, that they would probably, maybe they just don't have that principled opposition to what's going on over there. It seems like Shane Gillis does. Shane Gillis doesn't need the money. And that's why I say, is if I was one of those guys, I'd be like, yeah, nah. And quite frankly, knowing Shane Gillis the way I do, I think this is more about the plane flight. I think he's just like, yeah, I don't want to go on a plane over there. I'm not turning it down because I don't like the royal family. I just don't want to spend that much time on a plane. It's a very controversial situation going around, happening right now in the American comedy scene. Those who are taking the money, and I cannot say that I blame them. I question the Chappelles and the Burrs and those people that have all this money. I'm like, what do you just want to go check it out? Because that might be another thing. Like, I might just want to go check it out. I'm a comedian. I'm constantly looking for sources of new inspiration and new material. I might want to go there and see what that's like. And if you're going to pay me $500,000 for me to get up on stage and tell a few jokes, hopefully I don't end up in prison or anything like that. I don't know. It's a difficult one. But I guess my point is this. We shouldn't be demonizing any of these comedians who are going to see that. If you're a part of that clique that needs to find somebody to make an example of, and you want to demonize people because you feel better, because by contrast, you must be good if they're bad. If you're one of those people, go kick rocks. Leave these comedians alone. They're fucking comedians. They spread joy. Their whole job is to just spread joy. That's how I see it anyway. All right, let's get into this Nicole and Keith situation. This is the divorce that absolutely nobody cares about, but we all feel like we should be talking about it because they're A-listers. If I'm being honest, I didn't even know these people were still together. Was she with... Okay. So, was Nicole Kidman with somebody else who was kind of exactly like Keith Urban? Like, who was she with before? She was with Tom Cruise. Was she with that Kenny Chesney guy? Is that a guy? Kenny Chesney. Well, I mean, I know it's a guy, but is that some? Was she with Kenny Chesney? And then there were like all these stories about, hey, Kenny Chesney's gay, and they got like a weird annulment. And then right after that, she went with Keith Urban, who in my mind is just like, you know, the same thing as a Kenny Chesney. I make no distinction. I don't know. It's very confusing. And also, here's the other thing that's very confusing. Keith Urban should not be doing country music. Keith Urban should be doing R&B. That's a black guy's name. Yeah, I said it. Keith Urban is a black guy's name. You know what's not a black guy's name who should be doing country music? John Legend. Keith Urban and John Legend need to switch careers. John Legend needs to be the country guy, and Keith Urban needs to be the R&B guy. Well, let's get into Keith Urban's love life, shall we? Keith Urban married to Nicole Kidman, it says here, for like 19 years. Apparently, they've been around forever. They're getting a divorce. After 19 years, that's fine. It's not going to be ugly. Divorces are ugly when they happen within like the 2 to 10-year period. If you've been married to somebody between 2 and 10 years and you get a divorce, it's probably going to be ugly. But if you're getting a divorce from somebody and you've been with them for a couple of decades, it's probably not going to be ugly. It's probably just going to be, oh, thank God this is over. Oh, thank God. You were great. We raised some kids. I'll see you at graduations and, you know, every now and again when there's a baby born. But God damn, I'm so glad to be out of here. I think that's probably what's happening here. Rumors are swirling, however, that Keith Urban's split from Nicole Kidman was triggered by, You ready for this? Another woman. Yeah, Keith Urban's totally getting younger at the position. With all due respect to Nicole Kidman, who is a fine woman and would be an incredible get for a guy like me, is probably not top shelf for a guy like Keith Urban. I bet Keith Urban goes to a Keith Urban concert and there's like some country bar beer tub girl in a halter going, I just love you. You know what I mean? She's like 22. And he's like, I'm Keith Urban. So he's going to get younger at the British. He's not going to get married. He's going to start dating a string of young girls. Rumors are swirling that Keith Urban's split from Nicole Kidman is due to infidelity. It says here, rumors have been reported swirling around Nashville that Keith Urban is, quote, with another woman following his split from Nicole Kidman. Just one day after Page Six confirmed their separation Tuesday, the country singer is rumored to have already moved on with somebody new. Of course he did. These are wealthy, influential, popular, attractive people. Although I'm looking at pictures here of Keith Urban, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not gay, but I don't think he's attractive. All right, here he is. This is Keith Urban right here. Keith Urban, look at him. Look at him. In happier times. Look at these two. Yeah, this is a guy. Look at his haircut. Like, this guy's like my age. And he's like trying to look like a skater. He's got like skater hair, and he's got, no way, man. This dude is dating a 28-year-old. You know why he's dating a 28-year-old? Because he doesn't want to feel 58 anymore. That's what's going on. He's dressing like somebody who is not 58. His hair, he's a celebrity, because those people always get to pretend they're 20 years younger. But he's with some young girl now because, quite frankly, she's beautiful, but she ain't 28. She does not look 28. Let's see what's going on here. Men are only as loyal as their options. Never forget that. I say that as a man. I can't really speak to women because they are a whole other thing. But men, ladies, you need to understand this. Men are only as loyal as their options. That is 100% of the time. Not my husband. Your husband can't get better than you. Okay? That's what it's about. It's true. It is so true. It's like, you see this a lot. A guy will be married to a woman for 15, 20 years. They have kids. 20 years they've been together. And then all of a sudden his book pops. Oh my God. And all of a sudden he's not just an accountant who on the side is wanting to be a novelist. Now he's a best-selling novelist. Guess who's getting a divorce? You know why? Because that guy doesn't want to be around anyone who remembers when he wasn't a best-selling author, and they move on. They get younger at the position because it makes them feel reborn. Anyway, that's what's happening with Keith Urban, I promise you. Cynical? Well, I've been divorced twice, and I've seen some things. All signs point to the fact that Keith is with another woman. Let's just say that Nicole doesn't dispute this fact, but she is still, quote, shocked over it. One insider even claimed that the relationship between Keith and the new mystery woman is all over Nashville. Now, here's some interesting things that I found out about these two, because they're filing for divorce, and I guess Nicole's going to get primary custody, and Keith isn't arguing that, which is fine. He's going to get his kids whenever he wants. But here's what's interesting: these two, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, had to file what their monthly take is, what they make a month. They both filed the exact same thing, probably on advice from attorneys. They both, Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, claim to make $100,000 a month. That's only $1.2 million a year. Didn't you? I mean, quite frankly, I believe that the morning show over at the Ticket makes more than Nicole Kidman, if that's the case. I think that's the highest paid morning show in America right now, because they're still the only ones that's still cranking and killing. Anyway, point is this. That was shocking to me. I think they're maybe lowballing it. I think both of them probably make more than $100,000 a month. I mean, that's 25 grand. 25 grand. 20. Well, yeah, that would be. I'm so stupid with math. Yeah, it'd be 25 grand a week. Also, no child support. They have both, well, they better, they're both rich people, right? They have both waived any sort of request for child support. So there will be no child support in this. Look at these two. Look at them in happier times. What's this? Why? What's Keith Thurman? This is like a Nazi Iron Cross. Yeah, that's right, all you stupid metalheads. Turns out that is a flagrant symbol of white supremacy, and yet y'all still got it. Oh, it's an Iron Cross. Dig deeper into what the Iron Cross represented. Get back to me. Page 6 confirmed on Monday that they had separated after 19 years. Sometimes relationships just run their course, suggesting that Urban initiated the separation while Kidman was trying to save things. Yeah, it's because she's got nobody on deck. Keith wants out because, he's got the new hot young chippy, I imagine. He's got the new thing he's running around Nashville with. Makes him feel young, even though his face is melting like a shrinky dink that was left in the oven too long. But he's got the skater hair and the leather jacket. He's got his little Bill Belichick style girlfriend now. She doesn't got anybody in the hopper, although it's Nicole Kidman, so she'll be fine. You know what Nicole Kidman can do, and this is probably what she should do? She needs to go to LA. She needs to get a bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and she needs to hang out by the pool as Nicole Kidman for the next, couple of months. And trust me, there will be like a 23-year-old next Brad Pitt who will find her, and she can start dating him. If she's wanting to make Urban jealous, that's what I would do if I was her. I'd go out there. I'd be Nicole Kidman. She's in straight up Norma Desmond mode now. There's a reference none of you got. Some of you did. I bet Peter got it. I bet April did. So she just needs to go out and find herself like some young guy, some young happening guy, like Susan Sarandon did with Brad Pitt. Yeah, that's a story. That's a Hollywood story. Susan Sarandon was hooking up with the unknown Brad Pitt, and so that's how he got in that movie where Thelma and Louise. She was like his young boy toy. She was either just before Tim Robbins or whatever, but anyway, that's how Hollywood goes. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. What else do we have to talk about here? Anything new? One more time before I forget all of this good stuff, I do want to thank today's show is brought to us by April, with assists from Lorenzo and Gen C. Thank you so much, you guys. You're helping us get to our goal this month. Like I said, we're ahead of schedule. That's a wonderful thing. I appreciate you. Thank you. Tip the show if you can. Help talk radio, especially of the local variety, thrive for another month. Let's see. Nicole Keith, 10 best. I don't want to do 10 best. Oh, yeah, I do, because there's kind of a surprise here. All right, this is what I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to cut the show off here. Sorry, guys. I know I got a lot of stuff going on. We'll do another show tomorrow. Tomorrow's really busy. Tomorrow might be a noon show, though, guys. That could be fun. We could do a noon show. All right, I want to leave you with this. This was a story I saw earlier today. This comes to us from, I like to do our lists because I like to shit on other places in America. I also like to celebrate other places in America, right? I don't just do these lists. Here we go. All right, so what are these? These are the 50. It's 50. I'm going to give you the top 10. These are the 50 best big cities. Put a pin in that, big cities. 50 best big cities in America. And now there's a reason I'm doing this list, and you'll see. New York, Chicago, LA, blah, 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 all those things, Dallas, they all fall somewhere in like the 30s or whatever here of this list. But we're going to pick up at number 10. These are the best. Now, what is the best? It's based on, this is a tourism organization who put this list together. Let's see here. I don't have this. It doesn't matter. Let's just talk about it. Ranked as the 10th best big city in America, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I like Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been there a couple of times. It's beautiful. It's almost like a fake city that was carved into the middle of woods because it's all woods and rivers and lakes. Minneapolis is number 10 best city in America. Oh, I'm sorry. This is best city in America for a family. That's what it is. Best city in America for a family. Well, that changes things a little. Number 10, Minneapolis. All right, number 9, Chandler, Arizona. Desert, no thanks. I don't want, no thanks. We're going to pass. Number 8, best city in America for families. How about Pittsburgh? You guys ever been to Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh is awesome. First of all, just optically, just looking at Pittsburgh, especially when you come in over the river there and you go from one side that is like mountains. It's like Appalachia or whatever. You go from one side that is mountains, and then they dive into this river. And then on the other side of this bridge is this really cool, concentrated downtown area. Pittsburgh is a great looking city. I can see that. I can see why it's number 8 on our list of best cities in America for families. How about number 7, Raleigh, North Carolina? How about not? Never been. You guys ever been? I've never been. Don't know anything about North Carolina. North Carolina is one of the states I don't think I've ever been to. Been close. I've been to Virginia, but I've never been to North Carolina. Number 6. I don't know how this place isn't in the top 5 as best places for a family in America, but this is my dream location. I talk about this all the time. It's if I make a big bag of money, see you later, folks. I am out of here. I am moving to Madison, Wisconsin. Madison, Wisconsin, Madtown, as they call it up there, is number 6. Madison, Wisconsin, for those of you who don't understand, Madison, Wisconsin is Austin with 4 seasons. Madison, Wisconsin has this amazing, super cool music scene, although it's not in country, it's not an outlaw country the way Austin is. It's more in 90s alternative rock with Butch Vig and bands like Garbage. It's a great scene, a great culture scene. It is a capital. It is the capital of Wisconsin. It is also the home of the University of Wisconsin at Madison, which is a large mass. It's a great, great city. Madison, Wisconsin. Love it. Number 6. Best places in America to raise a family. Hold on, bear with me, because there's some coming here that you're going to want to respond to. Number 5 is San Francisco. Is San Francisco one of the best places to raise your family? It is one of the most overpriced and expensive places in the entire world. Shut up. Number 5, San Francisco. Number 4 is Seattle. I've heard that. I have friends who I knew, they moved to Seattle, and they're always posting on their Facebook about how it's so wonderful here. So there you go, Seattle. The number 4 best big city in America to raise your family. Number 3 is Irvine, California. Where is this? Is this where? Isn't this where SoFi Stadium is? Or is that Englewood? Or is that, what is that? I don't know. I don't know where Irvine, California is. I don't care. All right, here we go. The top 2. Top 2 best places in America to raise a family. Ladies and gentlemen, number 2, Plano, Texas. Plano, Texas is number 2. Wow. That's where my kid's growing up. My kid is growing up on the number 2 best big city. I do think it's funny that Plano is a big city. 282,000 people in Plano. I mean, that is a big city, right? I think the biggest, to put it into perspective, from where I come from, the biggest suburb in the Chicago area, I believe, is either Naperville or Aurora. But even combined, Naperville and Aurora doesn't have 282,000 people the way Plano does. We just got bigger suburbs down here. And I guess when you're doing these kinds of lists and you're combining statistics, the populations put what are, to our mind, a simple suburb into the category of big cities. So Plano, number 2, best big city in America to raise your kids. Here's what it says. It says one of several cities on this list in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. That's true, because in the 20s you had Arlington. Irving was also on the list. Frisco was somewhere in there. But number 2, Plano being number 2, is big. One of several cities on this list in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Plano sets itself apart with a bustling arts district, nature preserves, and even a crayon museum. J.C. Penney and Rent-A-Center both have major headquarters in Plano. They went with J.C. Penney and Rent-A-Center? What about Frito-Lay? What about Nationwide Insurance? Plano has like a crap ton of world headquarters for major, major companies. It's why it's such a thriving suburb. But no, that's fine. You go with Rent-A-Center and JCPenney. Is JCPenney even still a thing? Let's see. Both have headquarters in Plano, which is known for its mild winters and its pleasant summer nights. What? But there is nothing pleasant about summers in Plano. I'll give you the mild winters, but there is nothing pleasant. All right, so if you're sitting here following the list with me and you see that Plano, Texas has been rated number 2, the number 2 best big city in America to raise a family, you're probably wondering what's number 1. Arlington, Virginia. Arlington, Virginia. The home of Arlington National Cemetery and the Pentagon are 2 internationally known landmarks in Arlington. Located in the greater Washington, D.C. region, it hosts an annual jazz and blues festival that draws huge crowds, and Arlington has been rated a top city for LGBTQ plus rights. All right, there you have it. That was a long way to get for me to just be like, hey, Plano's number 2. That's pretty cool. All right. Guys, I gotta compel you. Come one, come all. We will be out tonight. It is Trash Trivia Wednesdays. That means we're out there in Legacy Village. Where? In the number 2 best suburb in America, Plano. Right off 75 at Legacy right there. You find us, Bottle Rock. It's one of the coolest bars in all of North Texas. Closest thing to a Vegas-style sports book I've ever seen. Come out and tell me I'm wrong. Tonight we'll be there at 8 o'clock. It's me and James Parker. We're going to be doing trivia, and we're going to get people registered for our big, that's right, brand new, just announced American Metal Whiskey $500 big money cash trivia tournament. Say that 10 times fast. You can't. I can't even. I don't even know what I said there. All right, guys, that's going to be it. I'll be back tomorrow, and then we'll be back Friday. We'll try and close out this pledge week. I love you guys. Remember, be cool to everybody. Remember, be cool. Don't be an asshole. Why? Because we're only given so many breaths. All right, let's not waste it being angry at some fucking imbecile. Just smile at the assholes and move about your day. There is nothing to be gained from going around being a dick. Love you guys. Bye.